Okay, hi everyone. Today is our journal club discussing the paper about association between music, color, and emotion. I am previous honor student of T Lab in Monash University. I'm Lipeng and Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. I am a new PhD student of the lab at Chuyin.
Yeah, and I'm Chuyin. I'm a PhD student in the same lab.
Okay, so now I will start with the short uh, summary of this paper, and then in the next after the summary, we will discuss about the question or comment on this paper. So this paper by Palmer et al. Is published in 2013. The title is Music Color Association are mediated by emotion. So I want to first introduce a term, synesthesia. The synesthesia has attracted much more attention recently in consciousness research. It is a phenomenon or condition in which some people experience things through their sensory in an unusual way. For example, by experiencing a color as a sound or experiencing music or a sound as color, both direction. But only very limited proportion of people have very clear sense of synesthesia. Most of us only have a very low level sound to color association in this case. So how might music to color association occur in more general population that is non-synesthesia? So in this paper, they propose two hypotheses. The first one hypothesizes that it is a direct connection between color and musical sound. And then the second one hypothesizes that emotion as a mediator mediate the music and color association. So although some previous previous paper have some practical evidence to support hypothesis two, but the conclusion is not as concrete as the present paper because the present paper used a wider range of stimuli with more color and also decomponent each color to different dimension. For example, the brightness and then the saturation and the yeah. And then for example, this paper also tests the cross-culture generalizability by collecting data from both US sample and the Mexican sample. So in short, they test color, music, and the emotion relationship in three experiments to demonstrate the mediate effect of emotion in this relationship. In the first experiment, the first test the music color association by asking participants from the US and Mexico to choose 5 colors that were most and least consistent when they hear a classical orchestral music. With this data, they compute an index called music color association. This index aggregate response from multiple participants and quantify how participant responds for a specific dimension, for example, saturation of color. Also, emotional rating was provided separately from the color, from both color and the musical sensation to assess the emotion mediation hypothesis. They ask participants to either listen to a music or sing a color and then rate their emotion response on 8 emotion adjective. So the emotional association of the music and the color chosen were analyzed to determine the correlation, and the result are clearly consistent with the emotional mediation hypothesis, which is the second hypothesis. And then to demonstrate that the relationship is causally mediated by emotion, or in which direction it operates, they conduct a second additional experiment to investigate the association between emotion and color, to investigate cross-model matches between emotionally expressive face and color, as well as between music and emotionally expressive face. So they use human face showing happy, sad, angry as a stimuli to replace musical stimuli. The results support that the association between emotion face and then color is relatively strong. And then for the third experiment, they test the association between emotion and music, which is another pair. So they totally test they have test emotion to music, and then emotion to color, and then finally they test music to emotion faces. So sorry, a participant listened to the AT musical selection from the experiment one, and then choose two most and least consistent faces among a set of 30 faces expressing happiness, sadness, anger, and calmness. No calmness, only anger. Happiness, sadness, and anger. That's all. So overall, the result of experiment 3 demonstrate a strong relationship between musical sensation and emotion. So overall, they test 3 pairwise relationship between these 3 variable, which is music, emotion, and the color experience. So by observing this result, maybe I should talk more about results with the figure. Okay, they conclude that emotion moderates the relationship between music and color. Yeah, I think this observation need to showed by figure. Yeah.
Which figure are we talking about in the paper?
No, I mean, because they have test 3 pairs of relationship, and how they generate this conclusion. I think it is more about the pattern of these the music color association index. Is my understanding right? So
do you have any opinion on this, Chuyin?
Okay.
Chuyin?
Maybe not.
Oh.
For
Let me.
example, in the figure 1, the
Right.
red green association.
Figure 1.
In the figure of red green, yeah, figure 1, and then bottom right, the red green.
I mean figure 2 or
No, figure 1 and figure 1. Oh no, wait. Oh, figure 2,
Right.
red green, and then you can see in the figure 6, also red green. There's a very similar pattern here across 2 model. So my understanding is that to observe this kind of FCA score, and then this kind of support their hypothesis, but I'm not very clear about how to test this.
My understanding of the issue was that the strong correlation demonstrated by the four emotional dimension between music and color seems to suggest that because the correlation is so incredibly strong, it's like there, like for example, between strong and weak dimension, the correlation is 0.96. It seems to suggest that since both music and color are so strongly correlated on this emotional dimension, the underlying emotion must be the same essentially for the two. That
Yeah.
was my understanding.
Um,
And yeah.
okay, you just talking about the correlation is very high. So I have a question. I made when I'm reading this paper, like three correlation between music, color, and then emotion. How did they make the conclusion of mediating effect? Like the emotion is between music and the color.
I don't think they can. I don't
Um,
think they can.
so for the figure 3 and figure 6, which I mentioned, is red green. That one. The pattern, if for first figure, it is music and color relationship, and then the pattern is like that. And then for the second figure, it has relation between emotion and the color, and the pattern is still the same. So that's my guess. How they prove this.
I,
Sorry, can I draw a
I'm not sure if we can see it. That's the problem.
okay.
I kind of get what you mean. So you are saying that the same relationship between music and color is sort of observed once again between the faces and color. Is that correct?
Yeah. So for example, in the first experiment, they test music
Yeah.
and the color relationship.
Mm.
Then maybe there's emotion mediated. And then for second experiment, there's emotion and color. And then they found, we can see there's a two similar pattern here. So maybe this is the subset of this relationship. That's what I'm guessing.
What do you think, Chuyin?
Yeah, I think it's possible to draw a triangle among emotion, color, and music. So you can say maybe one is the mediator of the other two. It's possible from this correlational data. But yeah, it's actually one of my questions when I was reading the paper because the emotional mediation hypothesis um, involves clear direction. So when people hear the music, they have some emotion, and which leads to a particular color, maybe. So the hypothesis clearly states some sort of directional relationship. Um, but from the paper, I don't see how they completely solve this. So they provided some evidence. Yeah, but and actually, I thought this paper was published last year, 2023, and then I found
Oh,
it's like 10 years ago, 2013. So it's understandable, I would say. Yeah, maybe among this 10 years, we have some further evidence on this question. So yeah, so I would say this understandable. And to solve the question, I was thinking maybe a sequential equation modeling can do it with this data. Yeah, if the authors know, or maybe if other people know this kind of technique, we can try. They can try this using the same data. Maybe this will reveal some directional results. Yeah.
Can you explain some of the aspect of this technique just for both myself and the audience?
Um, I Yeah, but to be honest, I can't remember this in detail. It's a part of my honors stats class. So you can understand is it adds some sequential regression model that can review directional information. And sorry, I can't provide more information. I just
Uh,
uh, mainly just remember this name it it can tell something about the direction. Yeah.
yeah, I see. Because yeah, I agree with you that this study is very much correlational. There's really no manipulation of emotion directly. It's always indirect. Um, so I guess if there's, let's say, a clinical population who can't feel certain emotion, I think it would be interesting to see whether they will give the
Hmm.
same pairing between music and color and even faces. Or let's say a person who has suffered some injury to the facial I can't remember the name of the cortex related to the faces,
Hmm.
whether they will have the same musical and color correlation, but without the facial and the other correlations. So yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. Maybe a question for Lipeng. So
Mm.
I remember you in your summary, did you mention their additional experiment 2 and 3, and suggested something about the causal relationship?
I didn't mention.
So can you explain more on that? Because I don't see any causal thing here.
Oh no, I didn't mention about causal relationship.
Okay, okay, but yeah, I roughly
Hmm.
I remember I heard of the word causal. Okay, okay.
So I
Mm,
had I totally agree with you, both of you, because I think this is a highly correlated relation of the experiment, and then that's why I found it very difficult to understand why this relationship, music color relationship, is mediated by emotion. I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah. Generally, we test mediation effect by multi-regression model, right?
Multi-regression. No, multi-regression is not about mediation. I think,
It is
yeah, it may be a part. Yeah, the term mediation or moderation, it's much more frequently used in social psychology. So I roughly remember they have a specific test for this mediation effect. Yeah,
for example, structural equation model.
yeah, and
Okay.
maybe a specific ANOVA also. Yeah, it's not my it's not my field, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Okay. So in the introduction, they says that they provide more evidence to this hypothesis. So maybe this is not a very testing the causality relationship or um, directional relationship between these variable, but provide
Mm,
more evidence to
yeah.
the hypothesis.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
that makes sense.
yeah, I think in that respect, it did a pretty good job considering it essentially tested the faces, the colors and music, all the triangles, and the correlation is indeed very strong, and that's kind of impressive in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The correlation is very strong. 0.9. It's basically
0.99, that is
it's almost impossible in real data, I would say.
Yeah, and especially considering it's between Mexican and US participant as well. So there's some ecological validity in this. It's not just a laboratory environment.
Yeah.
Um, And
Mm,
I think my question would be um whether the underlying whether there's emotional qualia that's sort of mediating the two would be my question.
Sorry, emotion qualia of
So
what?
so you listen to the music, you have an experience of what it sounds like,
Yes.
and it evoke in you certain emotion. You experience certain emotional qualia. And when choosing the color, you do not directly sort of look at just simply consider the structure of music and the color. You consider the qualia, that emotional qualia you experience in the middle.
yeah,
Mm.
that is a good question. So you mean by listen to music, music evoke emotion qualia, and then everything of synesthesia is about emotion qualia. Not everything, but large proportion.
I was wondering whether it's possible that perhaps synesthesia participant may or individuals may experience different emotional qualia
Mm,
comparing to normal. So instead of some kind of cross model correlation between the, so let's say, auditory and vision, in fact, it's the underlying emotional qualia that binds them together in some kind of way.
You mean for
That
synesthesia?
yes, yes.
Well, I don't know. I didn't, I haven't had such experience. It's
I mean,
mm,
I don't think
mm,
any of us are synesthesia in any ways.
yeah.
No,
And
so
do you have such kind of experience? You don't. Um, uh, can we record about yesterday that the magic mushroom? If we take the drug and then yes,
um,
we
uh,
have such kind of.
we need to explain to the YouTube audience a bit.
Oh,
When Lipeng was talking about magic mushroom, we were talking about yesterday there was a presenter from different lab who have some new finding on psychedelic effect on humans, and he shared it with us.
yeah, yeah. So after taking the drug, maybe our sensation, we can experience about synesthesia. And then
mm,
imagine in that context, we are hearing a color. And then in that case, do our experience of color or qualia the same, right?
mm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a question the authors also proposed, right? In the last paragraph. Do people actually experience the emotion they associate with music and or colors, or are they merely cognitive associations?
Mm.
hmm.
Mm, from my understanding, the experience of synesthesia should be very automatic, maybe. So it just comes out without any, say, conscious thinking. So they just come out.
I,
But the mediation hypothesis says, the mediation hypothesis suggests that as people listen to the music, they have emotional response while listening to music, and then pick colors with similar emotional content. It sounds like conscious, right? They have a conscious mediator. Yeah.
hmm. I guess one way to explain it would be when they listen to the music, the emotion arise automatically. But
Mm.
then when you ask participant, hey, I have 37 colors, choose five of them, then they start to think, oh, which one should
Oh.
it be?
Yeah, yes, it's possible. Yeah. So the task make it conscious. Right.
Mhm.
Mm.
Or does it involve cognitive process? Distort the experience, maybe. Mm.
Hmm.
But anyway, this paper, the reason why I propose here is the color, how color related to emotion. Do you remember now, Chuyin, do you remember now talking about color and emotion are very commonly related in conscious research? So, do you have any others paper talking about such idea?
Well, I haven't looked into this area in detail. Okay. Uh, yeah, but this is a probably a good start point. Say, yeah, this one was published like 10 years ago. So if we search for papers after this one, and or maybe based on this study, we will have a deeper understanding of the color emotional association. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, my, I also have maybe two questions when reading the paper. So one is on page 3, the results section. They mentioned, show you the second paragraph. They mentioned there were minor main effects of culture for the different color dimensions. So I can understand, from reading this paper, I can feel that the authors are focusing on the music color associations rather than cross-cultural comparison. But they call it minor main effects of culture. And I want to ask to you two, and do you think the effect is really minor or ignorable? I don't know what they are saying here, the minor main effects.
I look at the statistic. It's like normal, but it's not just significant.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just significant. And yeah, I can see the authors want to say, yeah, cross-cultural part, they are all the same. And we find some significant results in the music color association. And here, there are some cultural effects, which I would not say it's minor.
hmm.
Mm.
I guess the maybe it's a narrative way to say, hey, there are some differences, but these differences are not important for our purpose. Maybe that's what they mean. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can feel that, right? Authors want to mainly discuss the association itself rather than cross-cultural comparison. Yeah, but
Hmm.
yeah, but if they mention it, I think yeah,
Um,
it leaves some confusion to people like me. Yeah.
what do
Yeah,
you think, Lipen?
I agree with you. When I reading this paragraph, mm, I don't get very useful or very um the information targeting the research question. That is, but they use a whole paragraph to say the cultural effect is not as strong, but with with significant statistic, yeah, I agree with you. A little bit confusion.
Yeah, and this might be also related to the the general discussion, the second last paragraph, I roughly remember. Uh, but yeah, neither are there any obvious reasons why something might be lighter yellow, more yellow, or something like that. And maybe cultural factors are a part of the reasons. Yeah. So
Mm.
Sorry,
um
in discussion.
yeah. I don't. Maybe Lipeng, maybe you remember, but maybe Mike isn't there. So now I was once talked about the connection between blue and depression might be something culturally.
Oh, true. Remember in our in Eastern culture,
Yeah.
we don't use color. We not usually use blue to describe depression, but in English, blue just
Yes. Yes.
that is one color fact, a culture factor. But I don't remember in Mexican, is that yellow or anything else? They dance, right? Mexican is a very enthusiastic culture, and then maybe they have more preference on yellow and red is such kinds of um preference.
Mm,
Mm.
right. I'm not familiar with Mexican culture. Um, mm,
Yes.
mm,
Uh, you, I have a one interesting observation. Can you see figure two?
Yeah.
figure
At
two. Okay.
figure two and the top right, it is uh light and dark. And
Yeah.
then can you see the major, the line of major? You can see there's a downward from slow to medium pace of music. That's very interesting. So my guessing is that for those music with what do you call major mod, this music are very describing a gigantic scenario.
Uh-huh.
If the pace is really slow, then maybe participant will feel this will feel have different feeling of with media. I don't know. Media pace. I don't know. Because this line is a trove, right? It's a
Uh,
U-shaped trove.
but it's mainly flat, I feel like, between slow and medium. There's a small incline that's downwards, true.
Mhm.
But like statistically, I don't think there's a meaningful
Significantly
difference.
different.
Yeah, you see the arrow bars, right? I will also say this tend to be flat. Yeah.
Tend to be flat. Okay.
Mm, yeah, uh, but right, there is some effect, because the major versus minor, and yeah, the minor have a larger influence on the color. Mm.
So to provide some context, the song or music at the majors mode start from do, which is C, and then the minor mode of music start from la, which is the sixth key in the piano, I think. So
Mm.
many of Japanese music or those music expressing I don't know which kind of feeling like sadness or blues music they are start from la, which is minus,
Ah.
and then for our uh uh yeah, that's it.
So you know the features. You can imagine the features of this music, right?
Yeah,
Because I
I'm
because,
imagining.
because I can't. I don't really understand what these features are. Like
Okay,
major
Mike.
versus minor. Yeah, I don't really understand the difference. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
Mike, have you
I my music trading, I've already forgotten all about it. I did something in primary school, but then I haven't done it in like 9 years. So yeah, I can't remember any of these.
yeah.
okay.
Mm. So to me, it just different music when I when I read this paper. So I skip this such details.
Okay.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, I actually may have a question related to free report paradigm. When whether we can turn this design into something, uh, or is there a point, first of all, to turn this current design into something more like a free report? Because I feel like true, you have 37 color. You have covered all the dimensions that you have designated, true. But it's possible that for some participant at least, the the connection association is rather weak. And for other participants, the connection between two colors, the colors and music are much stronger. But in the result, you see exact same color chosen to be the most associated. Does that make
Mm.
any sense?
Yeah, yes, yes. So yes, so the options might strengthen some weak connection in some participants.
Yeah, so I was thinking if instead of 37 color, you give participant a, those like RGB color
Yeah, color
sliders, you can
maps.
just create your own color.
And then you use your visual, like something like a visual analog scale to drag and drop to adjust the color they want, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
or yeah, whatever scale you use, you just slide using sliders. And maybe
Mm.
that will reveal more heterogeneities in the data, but is there a point? That would be my question.
Yes, I agree. Then the result will be some RGB values, and we need to use another analysis. But yeah, we should have more um, accurate responses. That's true. Um, but again, it will strengthen the weak connections. Because by weak connections, I suppose you mean the connection between music and any color, any specific color, is weaker than other participants. Then we force them to make a specific color.
Mm,
That kind of thing strengthen the connection. Yeah.
yeah, I guess you can't avoid that the part.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess we in our lab we solve this issue by confidence, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, metacognition. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, by confidence. So yeah, it's not it's only one response, but we also have say like maybe in this case we people can ask an additional question that how strong how strong do you think mm, yeah like how strong you think the connection is in your mind, something like this potentially.
Also
Cool.
regarding this kind of experiment design, uh, turning color into a continuous variable, then how to generate multidimensional scaling graph. So in our lab, even even our research, they use 96 colors. They also use a
Yeah, yeah, but
regard color as a uh, data point, right? But
yeah.
the continuous variable maybe is hard to generate multidimensional scaling if we assume it is a uh,
Mm.
continuous variable.
Yes, it is true. We need colors to be discrete. But this yeah, this is my second question when I was reading this paper. I didn't mention it before. I don't really see the meaning of multidimensional scaling here. In the result section, they said the fact that the same two emotional dimensions emerged in separate MDS solutions for colors and musical selections supports the emotional mediation hypothesis. I don't really understand this, where this conclusion is from, because I think to me, um, the the correspondence between two MDS solutions um, is from the feature of emotion itself rather than the mediation effect. So it's like they do ratings on eight or say eight not dimensions or say categories of emotions or so. The MDS was constructed from the ratings. My guess is we can do the ratings on everything else, like some furnitures or sports or videos or some other things, and we construct the emotion MDS, we will have the similar solutions because it's a feature of emotion, say valence and arousal, right? It's everywhere. So I don't see why they say such a correspondence supports the emotional mediation hypothesis.
Oh, that's a very good point. So essentially, you are saying that it's in their emotional rating. They generate this sort of correlation between the two MDSs, right?
Yeah.
And if it's two just entirely different objects, if you ask people to rate them emotionally and you correlate them, then you will get similar result. Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so I know it's hard to answer, but maybe I would like to hear that to hear your opinions about why they are showing MDS here, like the meaning of MDS in this study.
To
Mm,
me, the MDS itself is, I think we should focus on the stress, which is accounting for 99% of a variance, which is really, really um high for 2D solution because
mm,
can you see the
Yeah.
see that the stress value?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the key he want to propose MDS here. It is saying that the correlation or they transfer the emotion, color, what is that? Rating to the similarity. I think this similarity metric, and then it can nearly perfectly map into a 2D solution,
Mm,
and then showing the variance was explained by 99% of variance can be explained. In
mm,
this case, I think they want to suggest is this, not
yeah,
the visualization itself.
yeah. I get your point. Yeah. Mm,
I guess just to add on to a little bit, other than the just sheer amount of variance that the two dimension have explained, I think the result it by itself, if you just look at it, does make some sense. For example, for the figure 3b, we see that medium fast tempo is seems a pretty clear divide between medium fast tempo and the slow tempo, right? In terms of the
mm,
two emotional dimension, and that just intuitively makes sense to me. The same applies to the major minor notes. There seems to be some sort of separation as well.
mm.
So yeah, that seems to speak to that
Ah,
there's emotional mechanism, maybe a factor that underlines the two.
I see. Yeah. So the clustering itself can tell something. Yeah.
Yes. If you just look at it between the color, the figure A and figure B, there seems to be two clusters.
I see. Yes. Okay. Mm, mm, yeah. To say back to the original issues, if the MDS is not that important, maybe we can use continuous color parameters and try some continuous analysis to show something else. Yeah. Okay.
Or another thing is that you can see the dimension one vertical is actually the valence of emotion and then horizontal is arousal. If
Mm.
can we align it to the third complex of emotion by Russell? Maybe that's what they want to show, but they didn't try to align this structure with previous study, right?
Ah. Mm.
So assuming that this slow major Mozart, slow major Mozart is fall on a certain position of a emotion. Let's assume is that the sadness, if it matches, then that would be huge.
Mm. Mm.
But they didn't do such alignment, so that makes you confused, I think.
Right. Right. Mm. Okay. Okay. Uh, Basically that's all from me. And do you have any other ideas?
I think that's from me as well. And yeah, that's my question. So,
Yeah, I don't have more question. It's a relatively old paper. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it was last year, and then I didn't realize it until your summary. Okay.
Okay.
all right. I think that's it from all of us. Well, see you next time.